Hey, Patrick.
Hey, how's it going, you guys?
How are you? It's just gonna be me today.
Good.
Tara's with the kids.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure if there was multiple people in here or not.
Usually we do. My wife and I will do the podcast together, but since coronavirus has kept us all inside, we have
Totally.
two kids and a dog,
Yeah,
so she's
totally.
kind of like dealing with
Hey, man, I
that.
totally understand that. Yeah, definitely.
Right on, Patrick. I appreciate you doing this.
Dude, absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm a huge fan of your band and all the bands on the label you're on, and I'd love to hear your story. So our podcast is about your journey in the music industry and how you guys got to where you are today.
Cool, amazing. Yeah, I'm stoked to be able to talk about it.
Right on. So I did read you formed the band in the Orange County area. Are you originally from Southern California?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Southern Orange County, little city called Mission Viejo, if you're familiar.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
actually in San Diego, so I know
okay,
Southern California quite.
cool. Yeah, so yeah, I grew up in like the Mission Viejo slash Rancho Santa Margarita area.
Okay.
Um, and most of the guys in the band are actually from that same area. Our drummer still lives in Mission Viejo. Our bass player lived in Rancho Santa Margarita for a long time. But our guitar player is from Huntington Beach. But overall, we're all from like the, Southern California region. So it works
Sure.
out. Yeah.
Right on. Well, how did you get into music?
Um, Man, I mean, music's been like a huge thing for me, like pretty much forever. I come from a pretty musical family. Like my mom plays piano and like played bass in a rock band in college, and like my sister is like really involved with like dance and musical theater and stuff. And
Hmm.
growing up, like those were like my two things that I like would be surrounded by. We had a piano in the house. We always had musical instruments around and stuff. And we always had like music playing like during dinner and whatnot. Like I was raised on like oldies, like 60s music and
Oh,
stuff. So
cool. Yeah.
yeah, it's always been like really prevalent in my life. It was like no TV at dinner time, like just music and like family, and that was it. So yeah, it was like always like a really big thing. And then I started with like orchestra in middle school, and
Okay.
I was really, really bad, like really
What it,
bad.
what instrument did you play?
I played the viola because I didn't like how small violins were, but I didn't want to carry around a cello.
Cello.
So I settled for the in between. Um,
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, I started with orchestra in high school or in middle school. And then as I was going into high school, my sister was in choir, and I was like, oh, that seems like a lot of fun. Like maybe I should try singing because I never really had.
Hmm.
And yeah, I ended up really liking it, and I tried out for choir and I got in, and I was like, okay, cool. And so I let orchestra go, and I just decided to focus solely on choir. And I did that from eighth grade until I was a senior in high school. And honestly, like it helped shape who I am and how I
Hmm.
sing, and just sort of like was the best part about my overall high school experience was choir. And yeah, it was cool. It was nice to be able to like transition from a classical, sort of singing background, and then apply what I've learned into the music that I listen to at a more recreational level, which has
Hmm.
always been kind of like the punk, hardcore, pop
Sure.
punk scene, that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Rad. Okay. So aside from the viola, do you play guitar or any piano or anything?
Yeah, I started playing guitar when I was in eighth grade. I was like obsessed with Never Shout Never. So
Oh,
like I
okay.
I just wanted to like be him, and like I like learned all the Never Shout Never songs on acoustic guitar and stuff. But like I never really progressed any further than that.
Hmm.
When the band initially started, I was like, oh, like maybe I'll sing and play guitar. And after a few practices of trying to do that and realizing that I was not capable of focusing on both things at
Both.
the same time, we were just like, I'm just gonna sing. I want to let you guys handle the instruments. But yeah, I do play guitar. I wouldn't say that I'm good at playing guitar, but I can play the
You can
guitar.
play.
And over the years, I've started to dabble with like playing drums and stuff. And I like to believe that I can, hold the rhythm and play a decent beat, but
Sure.
nothing remarkable.
So with movements, are you just writing lyrics and the melodies?
Pretty
And
much, yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
everyone else will write the music.
I have a, I'd say that it's as far as like our writing process goes, like it's all very collaborative. Like
Hmm.
as much as the guys have an input, or I guess as much as I have an input in saying how I feel like a certain, guitar part should go or a certain drum pattern should be, like the guys also have that much, room to tell me like what they think I should be doing too.
Hmm.
So we all bring to the table what we feel like, the best option is for, each song that we're writing. And I'd say that probably 80% of the time, the first thing that we do bring to the table is what we end up going with.
Oh, cool.
But oftentimes too, like we'll start jamming something. Maybe Ira will have a guitar riff, and we'll be like, "Oh, that's cool," and like I'll kind of start listening. I'll be like, "Yeah, this would sound really cool with like this style of drum beat." And Spencer will be like, "Okay, cool. Like let me like try something like that," and then he'll do his thing to it, and I'll be like, "Oh, sick. All right, how's this? Like, how do you guys like this for a melody?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, that's dope," or like they'll be like, "Oh, that's cool, but like what if we tried something higher or lower?" So
Hmm.
it's very collective. Like all of us work together. We all sit in the room together usually. Sometimes lately it's had to be more
Yeah.
remote, but
Zoom
for the for
practices
the
or whatever.
most part, we like to try and keep it like, very it's all a team effort, and
Yeah.
that's every aspect of
Democratic.
our band, from the writing to the business decisions to the money to the touring. It's always been, yeah, like you said, very democratic, like majority rules type thing. So
That's cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure because sometimes you know how bands are. You could, if you're the singer, sometimes you just come in and say, "Okay, here's
totally.
guitar parts. I have the lyrics ready. Play this."
Yeah, totally. And there definitely have been songs where I've written. There was a few songs or two songs on the last record, and one song on this record that I wrote, just me and a guitar,
Mhm,
and originally was kind of just like, oh, maybe these would work as an acoustic song, right?
mhm,
And then we ended up kind of like, uh, I guess like rearranging them like to be a full band song.
mhm.
And in those cases, it was like very much like, okay, cool. Like this is the song, I wrote it. Let's just make it better.
Mhm.
But for the most part, yeah, it's always very collaborative. So
That's cool. Yeah.
yeah,
I want to go back to right after you finished high school. You said you were in chorus or choir all the way up until senior year. Were you in a
yeah,
band in high school at all?
yeah. Me and Austin, our bass player. So I met Austin through choir, and we went to
Okay.
high school together and stuff. And so he was the only other kid like in my class that liked the same music that I did,
Hmm.
which like I said, was like either heavier stuff or like punk rock and like that sort of shit. And so we were like, screw it, like let's start a band. Um, and we started like a little garage band, and we were terrible. Like we just played like the goofiest, like most bubblegum, like wannabe pop punk, like Blink 182 Simple Plan rip
Okay.
bullshit ever. Like it was so bad, dude.
I feel like
Um,
that's a lot of everyone's first band. It's funny to hear
dude, it
people. It's
was,
always like I covered Blink and then I did this.
yeah, it was insane. Like straight up, like it was not good. But I wasn't even the lead singer in that band. I played rhythm guitar and like did backup vocals, and Austin was the lead singer. And
Oh,
it's so,
interesting.
yeah, it's so funny because now our roles have switched, where Austin's playing bass and I'm singing. And
Mhm.
I don't know, yeah, it was funny. We were kids, we didn't know what we were doing, we were just messing around, but it was a fun way to like start like getting into playing with other people. That was like the first time that I've been able to work with 3 or 4 other people at a time, and
Mhm.
and you know figure out the kind of ins and outs of playing music together like in a group versus just being in choir. You have to learn how to sing with other people, but it's a whole nother ball game when you involve instruments, and all these instruments are way louder than anything I had
Mhm.
done in the
Sure.
past and that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, that's a roundabout way of answering your question, but yes, I was in a band and it was terrible.
Well, okay, but you were playing with Austin, and obviously he's in your band currently in
Yeah.
movies. So, what was the transition there? I did read that you guys got signed off of one show, and
Yeah,
I,
dude, it was nuts, man. I mean, so after I graduated high school, um, so Austin's a couple years older than me, so he had already been out of high school for a while. And once
oh,
he
okay.
graduated, our little garage band or whatever, like we just stopped playing. He went and did his thing. I finished high school, whatever. And by the end of high school, I was like, well, shit, like I really want to play music. Like leaving high school and like I want to be in a band and stuff, but I was like, I don't really know the people to do it right now. Like I'm kind of like in this weird position. So I was like, well, I'll go to college, I'll do that thing, I'll make my dad happy, and I'll just, you know, maybe try and start a band when I'm in college, whatever. So I went to college, tried to start a band, couldn't, ended up getting like really, really over it. I dropped out after my first year, and then I moved back home, and I was like, dude, like I'm going in, you know, like I need to just do this. I need to like try and do something with music now before I lose my opportunity to in the future. And so I was just like, all right, I want to start a band. And I had known Spencer through like, he was in another really bad band like when we were in high school, but his was like a grindcore, like just really like technical, like heavy shit. But I knew his band, and so like we had kind of linked up, and we were talking about like maybe getting together and jamming. And then we brought Austin up because we were like, well, fuck it, like, you know, I think he was playing in like a post-hardcore band at the time, or I guess maybe it was more metalcore. I don't even remember what it was, but he was playing in some other.
He was local still too.
Yeah, he was
older. You're
local,
saying.
and yeah, he was local, but he was just like, yeah, trying to get back into the music scene as well. And so we were all just like, screw it, like let's give it a shot. And we started the band, and we wrote that first we wrote 3 songs to begin with, and released those as singles, and then played our first show where we only played 5 songs. And then there just so happened to be a label representative there, and they're like, hey, we want to talk to you. And we were like, what the fuck? Like, that's weird. And so, yeah, I don't know. It was so strange. Everything kind of just happened really quickly. And before we knew it, we were like going to lunches with label reps and having crazy phone calls with people. And we were just like, what is happening? But yeah, it was cool. It was amazing. Whoa. I mean, the way that things all kind of fell together, I was shocked that anybody would be willing to like take that big of a risk on a band that had little to no anything out, you know? But yeah, I mean, we ended up going with Fearless Records, and things have kind of just flourished since then. You know, we put out our first EP with them. It did really well. Moved on to the LP, and now we're on LP2. So
yeah, wow,
big stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, so where was that first show at that you guys booked?
Yeah, it was at Chain Reaction in Anaheim. Yeah, we opened for this band Have Mercy, which at the time was like huge for us because I mean they're not a huge band, but they were popular.
Sure, I know the name.
Sure
yeah,
I'm pretty sure the show was sold out. That was in 2014 or 2015, one of the two. And yeah, we were like, holy shit, like that's crazy, like we get to open for them, like cool. And then so we did, and yeah, it just went really well. And that's kind of like how all of our first shows were. Like our first 4 shows were all opening for bigger bands that were on tour. It was like Have Mercy, and then we opened our second show, we opened for Balance and Composure. Our third show we opened for Basement.
Really?
Like just like all these like and I don't even know how it happened, like because like those are all bands that I looked up to so much, and like randomly we were just being thrown on shows with them. I was like, damn, like what the hell, this is crazy. So yeah, cool.
Oh my gosh.
Here we are.
Do you remember how you booked that Chain Reaction show, the first one?
Yeah, our friend Cody, who now works at Fearless Records, at the time he was just a promoter for Chain, and he was just a friend of ours, and we were just, he was like, hey, I think your band's really sick, like I want to try and get you on this show. You have to sell pre-sale. And we were like, well, that like doesn't sound like something we really want to do, like we don't really want to sell pre-sale tickets, but it's a really great show, so we're gonna do it. And so we did that, and then actually later down the line, he ended up managing the band for a little while because we didn't know what we were doing. And he was the only person who even had somewhat of a knowledge of how the world or how the industry works. So yeah, he went from promoting us to managing us, and now he works at the label that we are signed to. So pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Fearless sees you off one show, and then they're like, okay, they've got something here. And then did you
Yeah.
have? You said you had like a recording of like what, a few songs, or you just had the songs
Yes.
written?
So we put out 3 singles, and that was like, we put out 3 singles before we even played a show. And
Okay.
I think that might have also been like one of the reasons why labels were showing interest, is just because we hit the ground running like
Mm-hmm.
really hard. We came out of the gate with a single with a music video. We premiered it on this like music promotion channel on YouTube called Dreambound.
Mm-hmm.
And they just basically like take like smaller, lesser known like bands, anywhere from like hardcore and metalcore bands to like more of our sound and whatnot. And we put out our music through them because they had like some like decent amount of followers. It was like 20,000 or 30,000 subscribers. So
Wow.
within the first week, I mean, like there was so many eyes on our music. And so we had already kind of created this buzz around the band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we did that with 3 songs and then played that first show. And so I think that was like one of the factors for labels to be like, oh shit, like this band is buzzing on the internet. They
Mm-hmm.
just played a show that was sold out. And like, it was really sick too, because at our first show, we had like all of our friends come, obviously, because we had to sell pre-sale tickets.
Yeah.
But all of our friends learned the words. So
Oh.
the first band of the night, we come out, it's like 6 p.m. and there's just straight up like 100 kids in the very front who are all screaming every word on our first show ever.
Oh
And
man.
I remember the other bands that were on tour coming and like peeking their heads out of the door, like on the stage, being like, who the fuck?
Who
Like,
is this
who is
band?
this? And so we kind of just like established like a decent, like, here we are, and I think that the label especially took a liking to that, just because they were like, there's actually like something cool going on here. So.
Yeah, they were like, whoa, there's a bunch of kids in here that know all these songs. That's
Yeah, dude, it was
awesome.
crazy. It was probably like the most like exciting first show experience a band could have ever had.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine. That's so crazy.
Yeah, it was
And then
dope.
so was Fearless the one and only label that kind of came to you, and were you like,
We had a few labels come to us. It was Fearless first, I believe, or maybe it was Hopeless first.
oh wow.
Can't remember. We had Fearless, Hopeless, and Equal Vision, who were
Oh,
all
like
like
all the
interested in.
coolest, like the coolest labels,
Yeah, it was
and
cool, man.
especially in
Yeah,
that genre.
it was really neat. Yeah, we were kind of just like, holy fuck, like that's
Yeah.
insane. I mean, I would have been happy with 1 or 0 labels reaching out to us, like
Yeah.
like to have 3, I was like, whoa, that's nuts. But yeah, so it was those 3, and then had meetings with all of them, and eventually ended up going with Fearless.
Fearless.
Yeah.
And so you signed to Fearless, and did they put you back in the studio? What happened next when you signed the record label, the record deal?
Actually the first thing we did was they were just like, all right, cool. Because we told them from the beginning, we were like, yeah, it's like our dream to work with Will Yip. Like that was just like our goal as a band, is like we would just really want to work with Will because he produces all of our favorite bands. And they were like, all right, cool, we're gonna hit him up for you. And we were like, shit, okay. And basically they were like, yeah, we can get you Will. And we were like, all right,
Wow.
let's go. So that was like the first thing we did. We wrote the 5-song EP, flew out to Philadelphia to record, and that was August of 2015, July of 2015, one of those. Summer of 2015, we flew out to Philadelphia, recorded the EP, and then immediately we bought a really shitty van in Philly, and then
Okay.
immediately after finishing recording the EP, we drove straight to Florida and started our first tour. And it was with this melodic hardcore band from the Bay called Worthwhile. They really liked us, and they're like, we'd done like a little tiny run with them on the West Coast that was like 3 shows. And then
Okay.
they were just like, come on our East Coast tour. Like, we don't even
Wow.
care that you weren't booked on it to begin with, like you're coming. And we were like, all right, sick. So we met them in Florida, and then did an entire East Coast tour with them that summer. And then, so once that tour was done, I think a couple of months later, we put out the EP.
Mhm.
And then from then it was just like, okay, like touring. Like we basically just like didn't stop for a
Oh,
while.
after that, it was just go, 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 go.
Yeah, pretty much since 2015. It's kind of fucked because like we've almost been on a hiatus now because of the pandemic, because we only toured once in 2019, expecting 2020 to be our like big return to touring. That didn't fucking happen. So but basically since 2015, the most amount of time that we had been home without being on tour was like this stretch of time that we're in right now. So from middle of 2019 to now, we haven't toured at all, obviously. But that was like the longest amount of time that I had been consecutively home in over like 4 years. Like it was really weird.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And yeah, because you have a new record coming out, so I'm sure that you had that all strategically planned to tour in 2020 for the album. And
yeah, we did. And that really sucked, man. Like we had a whole rollout plan. We had all these tours ready to go, and it was going to be a really, really big year for us. And, you know, whatever, it happened, and we just have to roll with the punches. I mean, we're obviously not the only ones in this boat. Literally everybody band and every person in the whole world is in this boat. So
I know that's the most bizarre thing to me. Is like everybody in the whole world is sitting here in the same spot. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's crazy. It's actually crazy. I never would have imagined that I would have experienced something like this in my lifetime.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Pretty weird.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've talked to bands that were on tour, you know, when the pandemic like started. At least you guys weren't like stuck in the middle of America, and they're like,
yeah. I mean, I have a friend who tours under the name Absinthe Father. They're just like a small kind of I don't know what you would call it, like shoegaze kind of ambient sort of singer songwriter thing. Anyway, their name is Haley, and they were in LA. They're from Philadelphia, and they were in LA when it happened, like when everything started shutting down. Their tour got canceled, and they had to drive all the way home with nothing, like no tours on the way home, no way to make any sort of money, or no shows on the way home, no way to make money. Like drove all the way to LA and then had to drive all the way back. Like, and I was just like, damn, like I am so sorry that happened to you.
That is
like
awful.
that is like the most gnarly thing. And I mean, I heard multiple bands that were in this, you know, similar situations and stuff, but I was just like, damn, like I'm definitely very grateful that we are not one of those bands that happened to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it really makes me wish we had toured more last year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully 2021 that'll be a big year, hopefully for music, you know what I mean?
Fingers crossed.
Everyone's sitting around just itching to go, so.
That's all I can hope for, man. I can only hope that 2021 is better. We'll see.
Totally. Okay, so you had put out the EP, and then tell me about, from there you put out your first full length, Feel Something. And tell me about that record, and like, so after you put out the EP, you did a lot of touring, you're saying.
So it was honestly pretty much the same thing, if not like even more intense after we put out the first EP. Like we toured, or after we put out the first full length, I mean, we toured a lot on the first EP, but then when Feel Something came out, it was like tenfold, like because because not only were we like now in the groove of touring, now we had all these extra eyes on us because we had just played Warped Tour the first year. 2017 we played Warped Tour, only having the EP out. We didn't even have the full length out, and so all these people had like started to know our name, so there was a lot of hype around this first full length coming out. And so when it came out, we were getting offers pretty much left and right to go on tours, and we'd be on one tour, and mid tour we'd get a call and be like, hey, like you got offered this tour, do you want to jump on that one? And we'd be like, yeah, like let's go. Like literally there was at one point where we had done a full US, and maybe like a week and a half before that tour was finished, we got a call with an offer for a full Canadian run with Good Charlotte. We were just like, can't pass that up. So we
Right.
went home for literally one night and then left again and drove all the way across Canada, ended in like super, super far eastern Canada, played a couple more shows back down into the States, and then drove all the way home again. Like, and that was just kind of like our life, was like we were just constantly going. You know, we'd be home for 3 weeks to a month at a time, and then we'd be gone for a month, 2 months, back for another couple of weeks, gone, back, gone. So yeah, it was nuts, dude. It was a lot of touring. And then yeah, we played Warped Tour again, 2018, the last year of Warped.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was like the final one, right? The final
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun
full
too.
Warped
I mean,
Tour.
yeah, I can't believe that was already 2 years ago. It's like it's crazy how fast time goes by. But
It's because this
yeah,
whole year has just been a wash.
dude, I know,
Like
it's
we've
so
been
messed
sitting
up.
inside for like 6 months.
Dude, yeah, like exactly. So yeah, we played that last Warped Tour. That was a lot of fun. Kept touring a little bit after that too, and then like I said, yeah, we wanted to take a break from touring because we had just done nothing but be on the road for so long, and it was so hard for us to try and write while we were touring and stuff. It just wasn't very productive. So we made the conscious decision to be like, all right, we're not going to tour past, you know, spring of 2019. We're going to dedicate all of our time to recording or writing and recording this new album. And that's what we did. After our headliner in 2019, we spent like 6 months writing, just strictly writing, and then went into the studio in October of 2019 and recorded with Will. And that's the LP that's coming out in like a month. So
Wow, that's awesome.
it's taken almost a year for it to come out.
Yeah. Was there? I'm sure there was probably an earlier release date, right?
Oh yeah, no, it was supposed to be out. I think we had originally like slated it coming out like in spring. Like I think the goal was to like, you know, release it for a spring tour and then tour on that and then do a summer tour and all that stuff. But you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, man. Well, at least you had like you know, the idea of stopping and writing the record. So at least that record is, you know, done, and
Yeah,
you have that to put out, and then obviously you can tour on it when everybody is able to go outside again.
totally.
But,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, tell me about this new record. Is it like, was it different than recording the first full length?
I think it definitely was different in a lot of ways, but in most ways I'd say it was much better. You know, over time I feel like us as a band, you know, us four have become so much more in sync and in tune with each other to like really be able to write good songs efficiently. You know, whereas before we might have taken like a really long time like with certain songs, and we'd spend too long on certain songs that maybe just weren't working, but we'd like would keep trying to make them work, and you know, eventually they just either would work and we wouldn't be totally satisfied with them, or we would just end up giving up. And I think as time has gone on, we, you know, have become so much better about being like, you know what, this idea is like kind of not like, we're not vibing, let's like take a break and let's try something else, you know. And on the opposite side too, you know, I think we've also become really good at like starting to jam something and being like, fuck, that's the song, like it's done, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was really cool. And then adding that dynamic to our dynamic with Will, you know, this is the third record that we've recorded with Will. We've literally never worked with another producer. Well, that's okay. That's not totally true. We've literally never worked with another producer on any of our like, you know, like record releases.
Right.
So us being able to go into the studio with him and him already understanding our vibe and knowing what we were going for and being fully on board with the vision of it all, it made for such a productive experience, to where we were just like every single day we were just like pumping out new stuff, and like all of his ideas we were just like, that's perfect, that's exactly what the song was missing, or like, you know, that's the vibe that this song needed, because the record was starting to feel like, you know, too much of the same. So like changing this particular chorus or whatever to make it have a different vibe, like, you know, those little tweaks that he brought to the table were things that we were all just like so stoked about and so on board with. So yeah, I think overall the recording process for this record was much more streamlined and we had so much more time to really fine tune like every detail of every song to be exactly what we wanted it to be, you know, and we weren't rushing to finish. Like on the last day, we were like actually had some free time to continue to like add layers and shit, which was cool. So
That is cool.
yeah,
Yeah. It wasn't all rushed and panicky at the end there.
exactly. Yeah. And I mean, that was one thing with Feel Something. You know, I blew my voice out. Well, okay, so I got sick. It wasn't totally my fault, but I got sick when I was recording Feel Something, and I thought I would be able to like still go and record and whatever. And it was a mistake because I ended up blowing my voice out, and it was a whole thing. So I literally didn't finish the vocals for Feel Something at the studio. We had to, because Will had another record he had to do. So we had to leave the studio with an entire record that was only halfway done vocally. I had to go home, rest for like 2 weeks, let my voice heal, and then track the rest of my vocals in LA. And that was like straight up the most stressful thing that's probably happened to me like ever in this band, because I was so worried that like it just wasn't going to get done, and like that I was going to like screw everybody over and all this stuff. And it was so nerve wracking. So being able to finish a record while we were at the studio this time,
yeah, that's good.
Really nice.
Yeah, I can't imagine the pressure. Yeah, like everyone's just waiting on you. Like, okay, you know, get the vocals done so you can put this out.
Dude, it was gnarly. It was definitely not fun.
Was it strange going to a different studio to record the vocals?
Super weird. Yeah, it was super weird. Thankfully, my best friend is a producer in Los Angeles, and at the time he had just graduated from his music production program at NYU, and so he was trying to get his like you know, more of I don't want to say repertoire. What's like the word?
Yeah, like his resume up or something.
Yeah, like just like more shit under his belt.
Yeah, totally.
And so I was like, dude, like, can you do me a solid and just fucking help me with this? And he was like, yes, I would love to work with Will, like anything you need. And so it was really dope, actually. Like, okay, it wasn't dope that I had to go in and like finish all these vocals, but it was super dope because I got to record at a studio in LA that's like extremely famous. It's called The Village. It's on Santa Monica Boulevard on the west side. It's like right in like the heart of like the super nice area of, you know, the west side of LA. And like pretty much every major artist has recorded there or does record there. So like literally while I was there for like, we did night sessions for like 2 weeks to finish all the vocals, and every night there was like some other high profile person there. Like we saw Lady Gaga, I met John Mayer. Like it was such a weird experience, but like cool in like the worst ways, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, to answer your question, it was very strange, like going and like starting this, you know, LP in one place and then being like, all right, got to switch gears here, do some other shit, and then finish it elsewhere. And yeah, it was weird, but overall, I mean, I don't even think you can tell the difference like in my vocal takes. Like that was one of the things I was worried about. You know, I was like, okay, are these vocal takes going to sound the same as being at Will's? And anymore, I can't even remember what parts I did like in LA and what parts I did in Philly with Will.
Oh, really?
Because that whole record just feels so consistent, you know, like vocally for me. So, but yeah, it was cool. But, you know, that was the first record. And then I was like super, super dreading going in and recording the second record because I was like, I really don't want that to happen again. And thankfully it didn't. And yeah, we ended it all on the last day and everything was done. Did not have to revisit it. It was just perfect. So
that's amazing. Yeah. And you recorded that in Philly at his
house? So
Will
has a studio in Philly called Studio 4. It's actually just outside of Philly. It's like 30 minutes outside of Philly in a smaller little town, but yeah, it's called Studio 4. It's actually pretty famous on the East Coast. A lot of like oldies kind of like musicians and stuff, like a couple of the members of the Beatles have recorded solo stuff there. Elton John, let's see, Lauryn Hill, like a lot of these just like sick fucking bigger artists have like done stuff there. And yeah, it was really dope. It was a lot of fun. Awesome. It is a lot of fun. It's always fun being there.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. And then the first single that you guys have put out is Don't Give Up Your Ghost. I
Yeah.
love it. And I love the video, the
Dude,
animated
thank you.
video. That's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah,
Was
man.
that
I mean,
a quarantine decision?
oh yeah, that was a COVID choice for sure. Oh yeah, no, we were just like kind of racking our brains like, fuck, what are we gonna do? You know, because we obviously would have recorded a music video. We actually, it was cool. The label gave us like a bigger budget on this record cycle, and because of that, we were gonna like do some really sick like, just like big budget like cinematic type music videos with it. And then that kind of went down the drain. So we were like, all right, how can we switch gears here? Like, how can we make this work? And anime just like ended up getting tossed into the mix, and we were like, fuck it, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, dude, I think it looks amazing. I think it's definitely, I mean, I'm not a huge like anime fan. I don't watch a lot of anime, but as far as what I have seen in anime, I feel like our music video is like definitely up to par with like the same sort of animation quality and standards and stuff. So yeah, I
Oh
was really
yeah,
hype about it.
it looks so good. It's such a rad video.
Thanks. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
stoked on it for sure.
that's awesome. Why did you guys decide on "Don't Give Up Your Ghost" as the first single?
I think the main reason is because it is just so different.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like some concern, you know, there's always like a level of pressure that comes with putting out a new song, especially when people know our band and know what to expect from us and whatnot. You know, I think that there's a level of like needing to be up to a certain standard. And we felt that that song, although it is totally up to that same standard and exceeds that standard in our opinion, we also felt like it was the most different song on the record as
Mm-hmm.
far as what people are used to hearing from us goes. And we were just like, we want to, like, from the jump on this record, we want people to know that like this is going to be like something to like look at, you know. And we knew that putting out a song that a lot of people might feel is like too different was going to be the move, because regardless it's going to get people to talk about it, you know, and it's
Right.
going to get eyes on it. It's going to, you know, if people are talking shit and being like, oh, like this new movement song is like boring, or it's like a weird direction or whatever, like I literally don't care, because the more they talk about it, the more people are going to be like, oh, I should check it out,
Yeah,
you
right,
know. and
exactly.
and to
It's
me that
different.
is
Let
like,
me hear
that's, yeah, that's
it.
perfect, you know. And I mean, we all feel like it's one of the best songs on the record, but it is very different. It is something that we intentionally wanted to step outside of the box for.
Mhm.
And yeah, I thought it would just be fun to have the first look of this record be something weird and cool, and kind of just get kids being like, what the hell? But
Yeah.
like, that was sick, but like, what the hell, you know? So yeah.
Sure. Is that going to be like? Is that kind of how the full record is, or is that just kind of like a one-off kind
Uh,
of different song that you
no,
wanted
yeah, I think that for the most part, the record as a whole is still pretty true to what Movements has always been.
to?
There's definitely a progression in sound, and there's definitely a growth. But overall, I mean, we haven't changed that much. I think the biggest thing is that we've just kind of matured in our songwriting, and so, you know, our songs are now. Um, I wouldn't say the word generic, because I don't think they're generic, but
Mhm.
I'd say that they follow more of like the um, formula as far as like what like a song on the radio would be. You know, for the
Sure.
most part, our old music only ever had two choruses. Pretty much every song that you hear, like in any sort of pop or pop rock world or alt rock, whatever, every song has three choruses. You know,
Yeah.
and that's just part of that formula.
Mhm.
And I don't think there's a single song on this record that doesn't have a third chorus, and that's just something that we wanted to start implementing, is like having those different song structures and whatnot, and like that bigger sound, that more polished sound, the more put together overall package, so that we can start branching into hopefully some of these bigger avenues. You know,
Mhm.
if we could get radio placement, that would be amazing. If we could play bigger festivals like, you know, Coachella, or
Mhm.
you know, the big, I don't know what the
Bonnaroo or
fucking
something.
other,
Yeah.
yeah, like the big shit,
Lollapalooza.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
instead of being pigeonholed into, okay, they were a Warped Tour band and now they, you know, maybe play Riot Fest. Like, I want it to be something.
Right.
I want it to be something where it's like, oh shit, they started in, you know, and they started playing fucking at Chain Reaction to 100 people, and now they're playing a big ass stage at some major music festival that
Right.
you know Post Malone is headlining or some
Right.
bullshit.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah. No, totally. Just
so that's like that's been our vibe for this kind of this cycle, is like just pushing ourselves to be a bigger band and to be perceived as such. So I kind of got off on a tangent. I forgot sort of what I was talking about, but like, yeah, the record as a whole is not just how Don't Give Up Your Ghost sounds, but we did try some different shit, and we
yeah.
tried to make it bigger.
I know, but I love where you're going with that. But like you said, you know, you don't want to be the band just, you know, that plays Riot Fest, because that's obviously like you're right up your alley. But
Totally.
I mean, like you guys were supposed to be on a tour, or you're going to be on a tour next year, hopefully, fingers crossed, with like All Time Low and The Story So Far.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still your lane, but I mean, All Time Low is kind of reached
they're
that level
elevated
that you're
for
talking
sure.
about.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting. When we got the offer for that tour, we were hesitant about it because we were like, is this still too similar? You know, like, is it still too much in the, you know, pop punk world? We don't consider ourselves a pop punk band. We've never felt that we're a pop punk band, just as far as our sound goes. It's not a pop punk
It's
sound.
not a pop punk band, but you're in that
but we get
emo,
we get
like smash
exactly.
genre.
we get grouped into being a pop punk band because we have toured with pop punk bands and whatnot in the past.
Right.
And so it's interesting too, because I feel like the word pop, or the words pop punk, no longer even signify a sound. It almost sort of signifies like just the community in which you are a part of.
Sure.
Which to me is kind of like super odd. But I mean, that's just how shit has gone. So fuck it, whatever.
It's like,
but yeah,
you've been in alternative press, you're a pop punk band.
Exactly. So basically we were just like, I mean, fuck, like, do we want to like stay in that lane, and like, is it going to be something that's big enough? And ultimately we decided, like, it's a fucking amazing opportunity. We're going to play to thousands of people every single fucking night. Like, why would we pass it up? But yeah, it was a conversation where we were like, you know, is this something that we want to start shying away from? And I think in the future it will be. I think that, you know, eventually as the band grows, we will try to branch out of this world, staying just in, you know, this pop punk fucking world, or whatever you want to call it, the alternative scene. But yeah, I don't know. We're still very stoked about, hopefully, assuming everything goes well with next year, we're still very stoked about being able to tour with them. And we've toured the Story So Far before. They're very good friends of ours, and it'll be nice to hang out with them again and chill.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, like you said, I still feel like, yeah, like All Time Low, especially right now, like their new stuff, like, is totally like,
yeah, they just had
radio.
a song hit fucking top 40s like a few weeks ago. I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, they have that song is it with Blackbear or somebody like that? I can't remember.
Yeah, something crazy. That's
so it's like,
so funny to me that it's taken them this long to get to that point, you know? Like, I remember being in fucking middle school and like jamming Dear Maria, and then fucking, you know, I feel like they fell off for a minute, and now they're just like back at it on top 40 with Blackbear or whoever the fuck it is. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. But I mean, that's kind of like that's the vibe, you know? Like, I would love to end up eventually getting to a point like they have, and seeing success other than just in our scene.
Sure. But still, I mean, I think you guys are definitely, you know, leveling up to that level. I mean,
totally.
Even the bands like the old, you know, the older, not older, but like the pioneering bands of the genre, like Newfound Glory and stuff. I mean, those bands could be on a Coachella or a Lollapalooza, and it wouldn't be weird because they're, you know, a radio band, but they're also
that legacy type. For sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully you guys will all be touring soon enough here. You know what I mean?
We'll see what happens, man. Honestly, it could, at this point, I'm like, nothing's off the table, you know? Like, I'm just like, fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Like, maybe this is just literally the end, and no one will ever tour again. Like, at this point, I
Who
wouldn't be surprised, you know?
Right. I love that you guys made a playlist on Spotify called
Yeah,
Waiting
our
on
end
the
of the
World
world
to
tour.
End.
Yeah, dude. Fucking, that's how it feels lately, bro. It feels just like every day just gets worse.
Yeah, for sure. Whoa. Have you guys been doing like the Facebook Live stuff to promote the new
Uh,
record,
we haven't done any Facebook lives, but
or
we,
Instagram Live or whatever?
yeah, we try to like go live on Instagram like somewhat regularly. We haven't lately. We gotta get better at that actually, but we try to like get on and like interact with people as much as possible. We're trying to grow our Twitch presence right now,
Oh, cool.
as many bands are, because I mean, it's a great way to connect with fans, and B, it's one of the only viable sources of income for most of us right now. So we're trying to grow our presence on Twitch, and we've been doing like fun, basically like the way that we kicked it all off is like we premiered the video for Don't Give Up Your Ghost like 24 hours before it was released online, and only the kids who were on the Twitch stream got to see it, which was cool because like no one knew it was happening, and we were just like yeah, like that'll be a cool way to like get kids like involved, you know. And then now we're trying to like find ways to like keep that a consistent thing, you know, like trying to make sure that we're you know, having that presence on our social medias and having a way to interact with fans since we can't interact with them at shows, you know.
Right.
So I think that'll be something that we'll keep pretty consistent, you know. Hopefully maybe some live stream like concert type stuff maybe is in the cards. It's kind of up in the air right now.
Right.
But yeah, some stuff definitely should be still happening live. Yeah. I don't know.
With Twitch, do you guys do you play video games? Because that's mainly what it is, right?
Yeah, so that's, yeah, I mean, essentially that's how Twitch started, is it's just a platform for gamers to stream their games and
right,
connect with people.
I have a 12-year-old son behind this door that's probably streaming on his Twitch account right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, it's nuts, man. Gen fucking Z, it's crazy. But yeah, basically it started, you know, our drummer Spencer is like a big gamer, like a huge gamer, and he kind of converted all of us to gamers. I never really played video games before.
Sure.
And since being around them so much and they all play video games now, I started playing video games. Anyway, yeah, we'll go on and we'll play like interactive games, like games where the kids who are in the stream can actually like participate. They have some games that basically by typing a certain like phrase or command into the chat log, it enters your name into this like virtual little fucking game thing. And then it's like a randomized like race, and then like we'll do giveaways to like the kids who win these races and whatever. And yeah, it's fun, it's silly, and it's kind of just like a placeholder for now, but it is a good way for us to kind of like still interact. And so yeah, you can definitely look out for more of that shit. That's going to be like probably a thing that we keep pretty consistent, is doing little giveaways and stuff on stream. Twitch. We That's actually cool. We recorded a video for the next single, which is Skin to Skin, and originally that video was also going to be animated in a different animation style than Don't Give Up Your Ghost was, but it was going to be animated. And we had some setbacks and stuff, and basically it ended up just falling through. And we were like, shit, like we got to scramble to like find something new. And so we ended up like doing this like intentionally cheesy looking green screen, kind of like 90s PowerPoint-esque, like fucking like just like dumb silly music video, but it looks really cool. But there's some props and stuff in that music video that we're gonna be like giving away on stream and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, just little things, you know, little things that the diehard fans of movements will be like stoked about. And like, oh, like they did this on their stream last week, like I really have to tune into their stream this week, because like what if they're gonna do some more cool shit, you know? So,
I love that. That's the one thing that is, you know, kind of a blessing in disguise as far as I look at it, with the pandemic and everybody being stuck inside and having to do like like live stream wasn't even like a thing really. I mean, maybe people were doing it, but it wasn't like a household thing like it is
Oh,
now.
it's definitely, yeah, it was definitely nowhere near as big as it is now. And I really wish I had like invested stock in Zoom or something before all this. Really kicking myself for that one. But yeah, no, dude, it's crazy. I mean, the whole industry, everything has just been completely flipped on its fucking ass. And now everybody's kind of scrambling to find like what the new thing is going to be.
Yeah.
And I have seen a lot of bands do live stream concerts, and they'll sell tickets for, I mean, I've seen bands do live stream concerts for as little as like $3 and as much as like $20, like a normal ticket.
Right.
And I think that shit is sick, you know, and I hope that kids appreciate the fact that like a band is getting together and like putting all this stuff into doing a live stream performance for them. Because I have seen a handful of people also complaining like, oh, I'm going to pay $20 to watch them play on my computer. Like, why wouldn't I just watch a video? And it's like, all right, yeah, I get it.
Right.
But we're in a pandemic. Like, this is like how this.
Do you want your band? Yeah. Do you want this band to continue to make records for you?
Like, hopefully, like if you ever want to see us live in person again, like maybe consider supporting us like live on the internet too.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like, that's what bugs me about those type of things, because it's like you're not just giving away your art for free. Like,
exactly,
you know, people are coming to what? A performance, you know what I mean? Like, deserve to get paid. Like,
yeah, totally. So I mean, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I hope that this is just a temporary thing. You know, I hope that it's not something that turns into us only being able to live stream concerts for like the next 2 years. I would seriously be so bummed if that happened. But you know, we're taking it just one day at a time, just waiting it out. Hoping for the best, expecting the worst, but hoping for the best.
Sure. I like that. But yeah, I mean, like, the one thing I will say though about this, you know, everything is like, it is cool. And I'm sure your fans really get a kick out of the fact that they can like interact with you guys, like over the, you know what I mean? Like before this, like we probably wouldn't be talking over a Zoom call. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing inside of your house and you can see like my loft. It's like, it's like you're, you know, opening the curtain, opening the door to your fans to see like what you are doing on a daily, you know, where you live and your daily life. And I think it's so actually rad.
It's really interesting because I've found myself being more, I guess, like personable on the internet these days.
Yeah.
We have a Discord server. I don't know if you know what Discord is, but it's just kind of like a little, again, it's like weird gaming community things that have like made their way into like normal life. Super odd. But so, man, dude, gamers were just made for this, you know?
Dude,
they were ahead of their time. Shit years ago. Anyway, so we have a band Discord server, and anybody's welcome to join it. And basically, we'll go in there and we have like a private channel for the four of us where we have like our band meetings where we actually like use it as like a tool for the band.
Sure.
And then 2, we also have like all these different like social, you know, chat rooms essentially that are all underneath our Discord server. So you can go in there and talk to kids about music or talk to them about memes and fucking like whatever. Cool. We have voice chat servers, and that's something that I probably wouldn't have done in the past. Like for the most part, I'm a pretty private person, and I really only kind of like share like more like intimate parts of my, you know, daily life with like my close friends.
Right.
But you know, anymore it's like I'll hop on Discord and there will just be kids that I've never met, and well, maybe I've met them at shows and whatnot, but like you know, we're not friends or anything, but I'll hop in and be like, hey, what's up, guys? And we just talk and we hang out, we play video games, and that's just something that I feel like I would have never really done before, which is cool because I feel like it's a way more sincere interaction that fans of our band can have with us versus, you know, talking to me at the merch table. Obviously I'm still going to be sincere and nice and whatever, but it's like at that point it's like there's, you know, so many other people that I'm talking to, there's so many other things I'm doing, you know, it's not as you know, focused and like genuine, you know, like
Yeah, it's
me.
more of like
So
an intimate conversation, like we're having right now, and you're talking to
exactly,
these people online. Where, as at a show, you know maybe you got a meet and greet with you guys, or they ran into
exactly,
you, like you're at the merch table and like, oh hey, can I get a picture? Or like, it's
totally,
not really the same interaction as you are if you're
exactly.
like, hey, we're playing video games, like talking random,
Yeah,
not I
literally.
love your
Like sometimes
band.
I'm
Can I
not
get a
even,
picture?
dude. Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes I'm not even playing games. I'm literally just sitting there, like talking. And so it's
Yeah,
like it's funny. It's a cool way for people to like interact with us. So
yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
dig it.
it's
Yeah,
different.
I mean that
Definitely a
is the
lot of
one.
changes.
Yeah, that is the one kind of thing I think is kind of cool, is being able to see, your favorite artists, like where they live. I mean, as a kid growing up, if I could, talk to Adam Lazzara over, Zoom, I would
Totally.
crap my pants. But like,
Yeah, absolutely. It's
it's
like
just,
it's honestly, yeah, that is like the truest thing, like
yeah,
I couldn't imagine voice chatting with like, for me like in middle school would have been like Aaron Gillespie, Under Oath.
right,
Like
yeah,
if I was able to talk to them on the phone, are you kidding me?
yeah.
I
You'd
would
be like,
freak
what?
out. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad that kids are able to interact with us in that way now.
Yeah, it's very cool, very cool. Dude, Patrick, thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it. You're awesome.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, thank you again for having me.
Yeah.
It was a good convo.
I dig it. I have one more question for you before I let
Sure.
you go. That's cool.
Yeah.
I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest piece of advice that I always tell everybody is like, if this is like if music and if performing and if like doing this with your life is something that you care very like genuinely about, like don't let people tell you that you can't do it. Like if I had let the people in my life who told me like, oh, it's not like that's not a viable career choice, like that's not gonna end up being anything for you, like if I had let those people get to me, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in right now. And for me, it's like there came a point in my life where I was just like, I need to go at this full force, and I need to do it while I'm young because I'm not going to have this opportunity later down the line. And my brother-in-law actually gave me some really good advice. He was like, you know what, like if you're going to fuck up, now is the time to fuck up, because you are young enough to the point where it's not going to affect you super badly in the future. If you tried to do something like this when you're middle-aged and have kids and whatever, like it's going to screw you. So do what you want to do right now, go for it. If you fuck up, then whatever, it is what it is. But don't let anybody stop you from at least putting everything you have into it. And that's the biggest thing for me. Be smart about it. Don't like fucking like I don't know, like don't let it get to a point where you're you know not taking care of yourself. But like to me, it's just like, you know what, like don't fucking let anybody tell you can't, because you can. Anybody is capable of doing this, literally anybody. Look at the like I see some of these like SoundCloud kids, and like I'm a big rap fan. I love rap. I think there are plenty of amazing new wave like rappers and SoundCloud kids out there. Like I genuinely do. But I look at some of the kids who are famous and I'm like, you have zero talent.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so like, yeah, it's just a matter of like putting your heart into it and going for it. And if it doesn't work out, at least you can say you tried,